Hi guys, welcome to my show. My name is Abutu. If this is your first time tuning into the channel, welcome. Please do not make it your last by subscribing and clicking on the notification bell so that anytime that new video goes up, you'll be among the first persons to know. Today's video, I want to do a movie review on Funmilayo Ransom-Kuti. I also want to share my 2 cents about turning older and realizing, yeah, I don't have a man, I don't have a boyfriend, and I genuinely want to get married and I want children. So yeah, if this seems like something you're interested in, please don't touch that dial. When we come up from a short break, we're going to jump into these conversations. Welcome back to the show. Again, my name is Maranatha. You can call me Mara, you can call me Ene. The full name of that Ene is Ene Chocho. But again, people would murder the name. So I decided to stick to Ene. But also because I'm from 2 different places and both of those names, the long form and the short form, are my names. So either one you want to call me is absolutely fine. So you guys, because of the age that I'm currently in, or the age that I'm going to be turning in a couple of months, what has started to happen amongst my friendship group is that there are these subtle conversations that are going on, but it's almost like we are ashamed to say that this is something I want, or this is something I'm considering for my future, which is so bizarre. If you can have ambition and say that I want to become a CEO of a company, or I want to go back to school to do my master's, or I want to build a house, why does marriage or wanting children seem like this thing that should make us ashamed? And it's crazy. When I think about it, every time these conversations come up, all I'm thinking about is, this is your life and this is something you want for your life. But again, I think social media has, and feminism even, because of what Nigerians think that feminism is supposed to be about, a lot of women who are feminists are ashamed that when they say, I want to get married, I want to marry right, and I want to marry once, and I want to have children, it makes it seem like you are a fake feminist. And I don't understand why people would think that feminists don't want love, or feminists don't want to get married or want to have a family. It's crazy. But again, this is not exactly what I wanted to talk about. What I want to say is that we are in our late 20s, and some of my friends are in their 30s and even close to their late 30s. And often and again, conversations that happen is, oh, I think I want to have a child, or I want to have a man. And for some reason, I will use the word we, because whatever dig I'm taking at anybody, if you listen to this thing and you think I'm taking a personal dig at you, no, I'm not. We are so, I don't know whether the word is ashamed, but there is a sort of feeling that comes like, oh, if I say that, I'm in my mid-30s and I honestly want a man, a husband, then it makes us feel less of ourselves. And now that I'm in my late 20s, right, I'm literally 6 months away from becoming 30. And sometimes I look at myself and I still feel like, oh, I'm a child. I don't have so much going for me right now to think about marriage, think about children. And this is the sort of behavior that gets you to mid-30s and you're now shouting, oh, there's nobody that I really like in my radar. Or the people that are coming at me are younger men or people that I don't really like. And so in a way, you're sort of trying to force yourself to settle for something that you don't want. Now that we are supposed to actively put ourselves out there, I'm a feminist and I actually want to get married and I want to have 1 or 2 children. I'm not putting myself out there. I'm not saying yes to dates. I'm not even making the least bit of effort to go out. I know in my head that I want these things, but in my conversations, it doesn't even come up like it's something that I want. Why? Like, why are we ashamed to say these things out loud? And then for us who are remote workers, our excuse half the time is, oh, I'm working at home. I really don't have time to go out. Because again, there is the problem of when you have time, like now, this is before my work time, people who are working in Nigeria are already at their place of employment. The only times that remote workers have to go out there and actually mingle or go on dates is the weekend. But that weekend, instead of you taking the time and scheduling your weekend in a way that doesn't even make your chances lesser than what it is, you still find one stupid excuse or the other to say, oh, but the only days I have during the weekend is the Saturday and the Sunday, so I have to do other things. And then you're in your mid-30s and you're shouting, why have I wasted so much time? The thing is, you're following people who actually don't want to get married or want children to be shouting, oh, I'm too young to date somebody, or oh, it's too early for me to get married. You are following them to be shouting, I don't want children, I don't want marriage on the online. In reality, you actually want this thing. So why do you say it? Like, is it that people forced you to say these things on the online? Then somebody who genuinely likes you would have seen one or two things you have written or said under someone else's post because you're trying to feel among. And now you're in your mid-30s and you're suddenly thinking, oh, what happened to me? Why don't I have a child? Or why don't I have a husband? This is not me saying that genuinely there are no people out there who don't want children or who don't want to get married. But you know yourself, you know what you want for yourself. So why do you join the host of people who may genuinely not want these things for their future to be shouting you don't want it to? And then in your spare time, you are there wallowing, and yet you're sitting your ass at home watching TV and doing one nonsense chore or the other on a weekend where you're supposed to be out there frolicking with people that are your age mates. We need to stop doing these things to ourselves. As much as I also don't think that I am in a space, in a headspace where I can raise children, right? I don't think it is wrong for me to want to mingle or have a boyfriend or have a partner, and I'm genuinely discussing these things because I want them in my future. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just you guys need to understand yourself and talk about your timeline for what you want. What I don't like is dragging somebody along. You're not ready, but you want to be in a relationship with a person who is ready in the now. That's a very selfish thing to do. But if you know that this thing is in your future, maybe not just this very year, maybe like in a year or two, then it's fine. You can actually be in a relationship with a person, but ensure that they know that if their timeline is for the next 6 months, you're not ready. But to want something and then go online and be joining the host of people to be shouting, you don't want husband, you don't want children. Meanwhile, time is going and you're not doing a damn thing about it. So please, let's, like I said, I'm taking a dig at myself too. Let's all stop whining about the things that we want and take active step into achieving. If it's school now, if it's admission you're looking for, maybe you'll be applying. You'll be on the online applying and all that. But now you want a person. People are texting you and you're ignoring people and feeling like, oh, I still have time. Anyway, that's where I end that. Now, the movie I want to talk about today is Funmilayo Ransom-Kuti. You guys, I know. For a lot of us, we probably don't know that Funmilayo Ransom-Kuti is an activist and a women's rights leader. All almost everybody know, according to our current affairs, is that Funmilayo Ransom-Kuti is the first woman to drive a car in Nigeria. You guys need to apologize to that woman, because I saw this movie, although I've read her story before, right? But I watched this movie, I had goosebumps. Like, this is a woman. This is... I don't want to scream. If you haven't seen Funmilayo Ransom-Kuti, yeah, sorry. There's going to be a bit of spoiler. Funmilayo Ransom-Kuti is a movie that was executive produced and directed by Bolanle Austin Peters. If you don't know her, then I don't know that you know good films. She's one of the best theater producers that we know or we have in Nigeria. And so when this movie came out last year, it came out maybe November or December. It came out at AFRIF, November of last year, I think. And so like a few others, we're waiting for the movie to come out at the cinemas. And when it eventually did come out at the cinemas, the ticket that I saw in March, I think, March or February, was a lot. Maybe 7,000 or 8,000. But yeah, 7,000 or 8,000. I just kept telling myself, whoa, I'm gonna wait like you guys and see the movie on the online when it eventually comes out. So now it came out on Prime Video actually last month. I eventually saw this movie, you guys. Like I said, I had goosebumps. But again, let me get into the story. The story talks about Funmilayo Ransom-Kuti from when she was a child, her relationship with her father, how back then women were not even supposed to go to school. The only school that they had in Abuja was for only male, and the female school was going to be in Lagos. So usually when you finish your primary school as a woman back in the day, I say 40s or so, you're supposed to go and learn a trade, maybe tailoring or, one thing or the other. But her father had come into her room and it was like, before you finished your primary school, you kept taking the first position and all that. What do you want? I said, oh, I'm supposed to join my mother learning tailoring or something. And he said, no, I don't want to hear what you think you're supposed to do. What do you want? My father encouraged her and he said, oh, would that mean I have to go to Lagos? And I said, no, you're going to go to the only Abuja grammar school that we have. Fathers that go out of their way to defy odds for their daughters are top tiers. The school is filled with boys and they try to bully her and try to make her stay unbearable, and she's rescued by the head boy, Israel. At the time, she went by Frances. Israel rescued her from the Form 5. Form 5 is like SS2 now. Boys who were trying to throw her into the well for speaking rudely to them or something. And they met again and he's like, you haven't properly thanked me for saving your ass the other day. And she goes, oh, I did, but what do you want? And he says, I want to correspond with you. You guys. And that's how he graduated, went to Sierra Leone for his higher learning. The year before he would come back, she went to England for her own studies and she came back. And then the story now started proper. I want you guys to know that the opening scene of this film was one of the best. It opened with her being at Calcutta, which is Fela's house, and the house was raided by policemen who were sent by politicians at the time, which I'm thinking is because Fela took after his mother's legacy or fighting for human rights and basically challenging the government. And so when they descended upon his house, they beat everybody, assaulted everybody physically, and threw her from 2-story down, which landed her in the hospital. I really loved that opening scene. I felt all the emotions I was supposed to feel, literally, and I just kept thinking, wow. I didn't even know that it was that incident that eventually led to her death. But yo, that opening scene was really, really good. Performance there was super, super good. And so from there was when she went to the hospital and she got interviewed by this French woman. And so the story, you know, started from when she was young with her father, you know, all the way to when she came back. I know everybody know Funmilayo Ransom-Kuti. Did you guys know that her husband was a clergyman? I didn't know that part. See, fathers who support their daughters' dreams are top tiers. But you see husbands or partners who do not mind being on the sidelines and pushing their wives forward for their own dreams. See, that's another top tier. If you have a husband, if you are a very ambitious woman and your husband is not pushing or supporting you in the best way that he can, break up. I'm joking, but yeah, you know what I mean. See, when she came and met the father, Israel's father, I knew that there was already going to be a problem. Even Israel knew that there was going to be a problem. And that scene was perfectly done because it depicted, you know, a person who didn't believe that the white men brought their religion, and all of a sudden you think that ours is entirely bad and there's no good thing that can come from our own religion. I really, really love that scene. But yeah, they got married and she became a teacher. And she started to teach young children, kindergarten. Now, it so happened that one of these women, Mama Supo, I don't know if I remember the name, but I need to give a shout out to the character. I can't remember what her name, I don't know what her real name is, but she was also one of the strong women in the film. I really, really love that, the role that she played in this entire thing. It was Shupo not coming to school that day that took her to the market where she witnessed the Picalayo, whatever the name is. I'm so terrible with pronunciations. I'm sorry. Witnessed the bandits that were sent from the Alake to come and collect taxes from women, which is something that every time I think about it, it just makes me mad. It makes me mad because they were taxing market women. And also taxing them for water and so many unnecessary things. Women were basically the ones who were keeping the economy. Remember that in the story, they had said that the Second World War with Germany had just taken place while Britain won. They had taken a toll on them. So what was basically keeping their economy was the money and taxes that were getting from all the countries that were being colonized by the British. And I'm just really like, imagine the audacity of men to sit down and not being taxed. And tax was not being collected from market people who were toiling to take their goods to the market. The movie was so beautiful. It was wonderfully done. Another performance that I really enjoyed was when Funmilayo went to the Alake to complain the first time, and they didn't agree. They didn't even want to listen to her, that she was just a woman, a mere woman who was coming into the palace, and you know, the mouthpiece of, I can't remember what his name is, but he had said, oh, she should go away. Now, when she now came back, she was invited when the protesters started, and she was invited into the palace to see the Alake, and the Alake stood up. Nobody did me. I was so in awe. That performance was also another top tier performance. I think it was even the best. Then followed by the first opening scene, and then the scene where the women started to really bond. The elite women and the market women started to really, really bond with one another. I also felt it there, like, okay, you're elite, you went to school, I'm not educated, but you guys, all of us are women, and whatever affects these women affects the rest of us. I really, really liked it. And when the Alake stood up and then she was like, I came in here, you guys didn't think I was worth being spoken to, but me, a mere woman, has gotten the Alake to stand up. Oh, but that scene, I felt so proud. Like, all of you that thought the only thing Funmilayo Ransom-Kuti did was drive a car, you guys need to apologize to her. Another scene that touched me was when the Dundee's spokesman came and he asked them to beat the women. Oh my god, I felt so sad for the women. And when they were locked up and she kept telling herself that maybe she's leading the women wrongly, maybe she should just stop the fights, and then on getting home her husband is telling her, you know what, if this is what you want to do, I'm going to support you still. And at that time the husband had been sick with cancer and he refused to tell her because he didn't want anything to, you know, disrupt her movement. And then when she got out, the way the other women were, first of all, I thought that incident was going to keep the women away. But not only did it not keep the women away, it brought a lot of women from all other parts of Abuja. And I'm like, this is what a movement is. This is how a movement should be done. And at the time, there was no internet. It was basically words of mouth, radio, or television. And she was able to garner such support of women from all over Abuja. Honestly, that scene, it got me really happy. That scene made me proud that that scene was so good. And when they eventually kicked the Alake out of the palace, I was like, yeah, we did it! I felt like I was out of the women at the palace. I really enjoyed the movie. It was perfectly done. I give it 10 over 10, 5 over 5. Honestly, I would not take anything away from it. I wouldn't take anything away from it. And I think that after that, I'm not sure she did, I don't know. I'm not sure she did any more work, but I think that that work she already did opened a lot of ways and doors for women. The taxes were cancelled and all of that. I'm proud to be a Nigerian woman in instances like this. Otherwise, please, I'm going to denounce being a Nigerian. But yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, I think that you should absolutely see it. The emotions you're supposed to feel, you will feel it. The acting by everybody was dope ass, and I think they did absolutely amazing. One thing I know is that these histories were taken off our curriculum because Nigerian governments are always scared of people protesting. And up until now, we know that if we decided that we wanted to change some things, it wouldn't take the military or the government more than a few minutes to get to the arena and try to tear gas everybody. But I feel like the major reason that those history were taken out of our books is because they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know. And I really, really appreciate the fact that apart from, you know, there are these things, we can read them in text. It's also good to see it in films or in movies because there is a way that visuals can impact a larger group of audience than for, you know, text or books alone, which only the elites or people who are a bit educated can get to. So I would really appreciate it if, you know, one day we start to really talk about these things that happened pre-independence and from then until, you know, we had our nation. So yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, I think you should absolutely do. This is where I would end the video for the week. Please like, please comment, please share your thoughts with me if you've seen the movie. What was your best scene in this film? What did you like? What didn't you like? Are you amongst the group of people that thought the only thing Mrs. Funmilayo Ransom-Kuti did was that she was the first woman that rode a car in Nigeria? But yeah, if you have seen the movie, let me know what you thought about it. I'll be waiting to read your comments in the comment section. Until next week.